still, y'all heard me talk. My memory card is just worn out. And it should go for an hour and a half. It's going a half an hour, and I probably only have about 15 more minutes. So on we go. The day of the Lord begins when the lands of Abraham bloom again. This is in Jeremiah 31. The 3C time is coming. And the third one being, I'm going to make a new covenant with you. And of course, he's got to have a prophet like Moses who delivered the first covenant. God had told Moses, gather everybody, 100%, and find out if they'll agree to comply with all my laws, commandments, and rules that you will give to them. I'm going to give them to you, and you give them to them. So where's the new covenant? It should be here. Land blooms again, cities restored, Jerusalem rebuilt. Where is it? Well, you got to have somebody, don't you? And what do you need? Even the sages knew this, who say in the Talmud that Moshiach of Isaiah 11 is described in 53. It's the only description of a man we have. Look how little belief there truly is out there with what I'm putting forth. And you'll never see greater proofs. Don't recognize me, you'll never recognize anybody else who comes after me. And that means utter destruction to the land of Israel someday. Well, you can only find it one place. Malachi 3, where God announces the day of the Lord and begins writing the scroll of remembrance for this day. That would be the day of the Lord. First verse, God says, I am returning to I'm sending my messenger before me to clear the way. And I shall return to my temple suddenly. Well, of course, it's got to be built first. And you know how he's going to enter that temple? He's going to have me walk into it, and he's within me and will fill that temple as the Shekinah is supposed to. That would be pretty sudden. Just walk up the steps and go in the door. Can the Jewish people not understand how incredible this is? All their beliefs in God for all these years, and all the rituals they go through, you know, that he commanded them to do. And you can tell when you're around them. I went through, for a short time, a conversion class at the largest conservative synagogue in America, here in Houston, Texas. My dad had a heart attack. I had to stop going and take care of him for a few weeks. But I could have gone back, but God told me, you know what, that's enough. I went to the high holidays. I hid everything. I met a lot of people. Didn't tell anybody, you know, what was really going on with me. No, I didn't mention anything. You know, and I'm not even really going to talk to people who won't read the book or watch the videos. I'm just not going to talk to you because you're not going to believe a word I'm saying. You may act like you do, but no, you have to see them intellectually. You read these books or watch all these videos. Intellectually, you can't deny it. I can't have this knowledge. If no other rabbi or sage has ever had this knowledge, ever. And I was an atheist for 50 years. With God orchestrating my life. That's what he wanted. He was with me at birth. He didn't speak to me. I didn't know he was with me until I was 50 years old. 50 years old. I just turned 66 yesterday or today. I'm not sure which. They didn't tell me. That's why you had my ball game tape today, huh? Yesterday. Hey, did something nice for me. That's good. So anyway, let me see. So the day of the Lord began in 1948. If you hadn't gathered, that means it's not a 24-hour day. is until we get everything we got to get done. And if you read the books or you've listened to the tape, when it talks about who can believe what we have heard, he's got about a page of they can't believe this, they can't believe that, and we just got this laundry list, and you just can't find that with others, people who have claimed to be Moshiach. And there's been plenty. The founder of the Essenes, who wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls, but never wrote a word about Jesus. And he would have been an Essene, if anything. The founder was in a big fight with the wicked priests. They disliked material things. They moved out of Jerusalem because there was too much sinning. You know, for the most part, not all of them, and went to the caves of Qumran. That's where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. Now, one word written about Jesus. These people were prolific copyists. They did midrashes. They have another name for it. Commentary. But here's the kicker. They believed their founder to be the righteous servant of Isaiah 53. That's his very name in these peshers. This midrash commentary type thing, that's what they call him. That's his name. The teacher of righteousness. That's it. The teacher of righteousness was in a fight with the wicked priest. Well, you know, Jesus tangled with the high priest, who I can assume he was wicked also. Never wrote a word about him. You don't see his name until 40 years after his death. Okay? And the New Testament is full of quotes from Jesus Christ. You know, they didn't have tape recorders back then. You have to ask yourself, you know, how reliable are those books? And when you find out that there is a top 10 of the great lies of Jesus Christ, which means he's not unblemished, he's a sinner. And one of them is the greatest lie and most deceitful lie in the history of humanity, based on the number of people deceived. Today, 2 billion people are deceived. It's in a video. You should check it out. And it comes straight from his lips. But you have to put 3 of the New Testament books together, or at least 2. That's where religious people, even the rabbis, seem to have a problem. They can read one book, decide, you know, what kind of fits for them in all ways, but they can't really put them together as they're supposed to be. As I said, if you want to know when God's coming back, he's coming back when they come back. Y'all come back, I'll come back. That's all it is. I mean, he's coming with sin forgiveness. Why would you say if we're sinless, Michael Skolback, he'll come back? I mean, you don't know. If you don't know these things, I know you're a very good rabbi, very intellectual, very presentable, but limitations. But I always remind myself, a rabbi is a man taught by other rabbis, men teaching men. I learned from the author of the Hebrew Bible. He had it all. He dictated the entirety of it, different men, not just Moses and the Torah. The entire book is his. And there's ways to prove that. When you can bring the books together, it's like, okay, this fits, this book, this book, this book, this book. But these men who wrote it came at different times. I don't think any of them were alive at the same time the other one was writing. And you know, as with me, God won't lead me. He's not going to go to somebody else to talk to him. I've asked him to. Are you kidding? 16 years? I'm like, hey, you know, Moses, you put your spirit on 70 of the elders so that they would come and start helping Moses with all his tasks. They did. Yeah. I said, where's my 70? Why don't you go to 70 synagogues and 70? I said, you can leave me here. I promise I won't go out. That always makes him laugh. I say, I'm thinking about walking up to the store and getting something. Y'all want anything? They just say, you're not going anywhere. So anyway, I don't know. God's having me, you have to understand, I want to get this thing done. I just want to read it straight and not add another word. But he's not letting me. He's controlling everything coming out of my mouth. Can we please get another page? Teaching that Isaiah 53 is the Jewish people could result in utter destruction. If Elijah is not recognized by a description, 53, and is not believed, he cannot recounsel the Jewish families one to the other through practicing Judaism, clear the way for the Lord to return to his temple, or deliver the covenant of sin forgiveness that we find in Jeremiah. Elijah's purpose will not prosper, and when the Lord comes, as I said, he's here trying to get through me to get it done. But if that doesn't happen, utter destruction to the land. That is the prevalent teaching today, that Isaiah 53 is Israel, the Jewish people. And it's got so many flaws in it. Today on Isaiah 53, primarily by Tovia Singer of Outreach Judaism and Jews for Judaism, a primary spokesman. He didn't write the commentary on 53, but he seems to be their big spokesman on it. Tovia's got 46,000 followers. I don't know what Jews for Judaism has, but I got a feeling it might even be greater than that. And they all believe, I say they all believe, that's what's being taught, and they're going to just assume it's correct. Their commentary, that's the prevalent teacher by Singer and Skobach. Their commentary on Isaiah 53 being all of the Jewish people as one man Israel. It has to be all of them. Again, it's only happened twice. You couldn't get all the Jews together today as one man Israel. It's never going to happen again. It certainly didn't happen in the 40s or during the war, as Tovia Singer seems to think. Okay, now, their commentary is totally different from one another. One is based on the Holocaust and the 6 million murders that Tovia says were a guilt offering because he didn't translate the Hebrew to English very good. It doesn't say guilt offering. It says that he would offer himself for guilt. Literally translated, he would offer himself for guilt. And of course you don't know what that is. He doesn't know what that is. A righteous servant does. That's how God wrote it. I'm the only man who can tell you how to understand 53. And my backup is the book of Ezekiel. That's the prevalent teaching. But anyway, one of them uses the Holocaust, and Jews for Judaism uses Rambam's world exaltation of the Jewish people, which again, never going to happen. Hasn't happened, never going to happen. And certainly not in the Hebrew Bible, certainly nothing God ever said. So he's basing this deceptive teaching, this false teaching, saying Isaiah 53 is the Jewish people, and using Rambam's word on it and not God's. What has happened? That describes his prophet like Moses, the righteous servant. It describes Elijah, because the righteous servant's all for righteous men to come. And what does 53 say? He was shunned, despised, and held of no account. And there's 3 more words that go with that. So what happens? God's not coming to Israel. That's what happens because of false teaching. And so if they wonder why they're dismissed and they can't believe it, saying, are you kidding? I'm the most observant Orthodox Jew in the world. I've never sinned. this and that, that and this. Guess what? God don't care. He's not a human being, people. You cannot think of him in those terms. He's a living being with emotions, as we are. That's the image we are in him. After that, forget it. I mean, I've been with him 16 years. I know the things that he does, but a good bit of the time, I don't know why. I don't get it. I mean, he's just too different. You can't, I mean, as a human being, you know, someone late in years, it's just, what are you doing? Okay, I can't get into that one. I used to say, what is wrong with you? When he'd hurt me in the fire of refinement of wounding, punishment, maltreatment, crushing, bruising. So he hurts me real bad, and I said, what is wrong with you? And he gets kind of quiet. He says, I'm God. There's nothing wrong with me. If there's anything wrong with anybody in here, it's you. And so I'm holding, my chin's broke open. He slammed me down on cement. I got blood pouring into my hands. And I said, evidence would suggest otherwise. He says, you need it. It helps you. It just helps. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. That was so funny. What's wrong with you? And I'd be just living. And I can't get angry like that anymore. It's from him doing those kind of things to me. What I've been through. And I'm it. I said, wait a minute. Representation, without me, you can't even have a day of the Lord. He said, I can kill you right now. I said, you know, that's looking better and better than me. But anyway, we do have a lot of fun. Good friends. Okay, so that's the prevalent teaching. They do disagree with one another as to how. And they are both equally absurd, if not ridiculous. And yet thousands and thousands of people. If you say Isaiah 53, wait, what if it's Elijah? What if it's Moshiach, like in the time that Tobiah Singer said it's Israel? That's who it is. It's the greatest teacher of all times. I actually got a comment like that. I said, yeah. If you like deceiving people, and if you like God can't get from Texas to Israel with his veritable mouthpiece, which is me, the world will never invoke the Lord as Hashem. He doesn't mind if you call him God, by the way. And serve the God of Israel in one accord. This is part of Rambam's. Yeah, everybody's going to say the Jews been right about God all along. Let's go worship with them. That's what the world's coming to be. All the world will be but to worship God. I'm like, man, that's like saying you got to go to synagogue and you can't come home ever. I got other things I like to do, and I like watch TV. And then they say the whole world's going to speak Hebrew, and that's just a bad interpretation Rambam came up with. Y'all need to just leave Rambam alone. And anything that comes from him, stick with the Hebrew Bible. Stick with the things God says. Well, maybe this will be something that'll wake these rabbis up. You know, he holds them to a higher standard, and he gets on them in the Hebrew Bible. Grousing dogs and this and that. Or is that the Watchman? I don't know. The peoples of pure speech are the Jewish people. It's not the world. It comes from Zephaniah, chapter, I think, 3. And that's how it is interpreted. He said the peoples will be of a pure speech, and Rambam took that to mean the peoples of the world. No, it's the Jewish people. And it's true, they're the only culture who has ever revived an ancient language. And they did. They revived Hebrew. Hebrew had fallen away for Aramaic. Sure have. They revived it. They speak it now. Then that would be considered pure speech to the Lord who created Hebrew. He didn't create Aramaic. So anyway, it's the Jewish people, not the world. 2 billion or so Christians and 2 billion or so Muslims are not going to wake up one morning and in one accord speak Hebrew and denounce their false gods. It's never going to happen. They got to stop teaching this garbage. No, I'm sure they do a lot of great things, high holidays, this and that, synagogue on Saturdays, Shabbats. But you know, it only takes messing with the minds of 66,000 people and changing a belief that they should into something they shouldn't have or understand. I mean, if Toby doesn't understand that you have to have all Jews together to be Israel as one man, how can I fault the followers who are looking to him for advice on just that? Who's the man of Isaiah 53? It's not a man, it's Israel. Okay, why do you say that? He actually never tells you. It looks to be, I mean, he says Hitler received a portion, well, the righteous servant of God receives a portion. It's the many he makes righteous. It just means people who believe in him. And as he spoiled the multitude, meaning it grows. The many grow into many, many people. And of course, that's the more people who can help me get started and get God into an abode that will be honored, as we see in Isaiah 11. You know, I've been living in a room for 16 years now with nothing. First thing God did, the second week, I told him, I said, I gotta take some seminars on the computer, and I gotta send in money to the Bar of Hawaii and the Bar of Texas, where I was board certified specialist in oil, gas, and mineral law. God said, you're not going to ever practice law again. I said, I'm actually walking by the computer. We just come in from a walk. I said, what am I going to do about money? He said, he kind of laughed just like this. He said, you're not going to have any. She's like, it just pleased him to no end. He's trying to make me angry. I didn't. I was stunned. I couldn't even get angry. Yeah, I haven't worked since then. That would have been, well, when I was 50, I'm now 66, so 16 years ago. You want to figure out when that was. I don't know. You're going to have this thing in about 5 parts if you don't get busy. Just talking out loud to the Lord. Okay, this is Ezekiel 34:10. Just to back up some of the things I've been telling you. I am going to deal with the shepherds. I will demand a reckoning of them for my flock, and I will dismiss them from tending the flock. Okay, that worked in antiquity because nobody knew. There weren't that many rabbis, teachers, but it doesn't work today. We have too many synagogues, too many Jewish people, and too many rabbis to say you can't go to synagogue anymore. That's just the way God wrote it. But what it means today, again, stop relying on your sages. What is it? What is God really saying? If he dismisses somebody, what do you think that means? But anyway, all the rabbis are dismissed, and then you see this. He appoints Moshiach as the only teacher he will recognize. I think I'm about to get it. Oh yeah, here it is. Then I will appoint a single shepherd over them to tend them. My servant David, he shall tend them. He shall be a shepherd to them. That doesn't sound like King Moshiach, and Rambam's got 2 chapters on the laws of King Rambam that he made up. They're not in the Hebrew Bible. You got to watch that guy like a hawk. The Lord will be their God. My servant David shall be a ruler among them. not among them. And you're just somebody, a leader that you come to and you ask questions. What do I do? What does this mean? Can you explain this? And I will grant them a covenant of friendship. This is in Ezekiel. It's basically in chapters 34 and 37. They shall no longer be a spoil for the nations. That doesn't sound like Messianic era to me. That doesn't sound like world exaltation. You're no longer going to be. And the beast of the earth shall not devour them. They shall dwell secure and untroubled. I shall establish for them a planting of renown. They shall no more be carried off by famine, and they shall not have to bear again the taunts of nations. They shall know that the Lord their God, and with them and they, the house of Israel are my people, declares the Lord God. Dismissal, appointment of Moshe, the teacher he recognizes. And God says, I will make a covenant of friendship with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. I will establish them and multiply them, and I will place my sanctuary among them forever. Calls it the eternal sanctuary. My presence shall rest over them. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. That's the first covenant. And when my sanctuary abides among them forever, the nation shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify Israel. That's it. And you say, Messianic era sounds better. Yeah, but Messianic era comes from a man who just made it up. This is God saying, this is what happens with what is known as end times. Well, end times got changed. The day of the Lord completely changes in Malachi 3. There's 7 of the prophets that talk about it, and it's always about ending evil, one way or another. Okay? Well, evil's not being deleted anymore. You're just being told you're not going to heaven if you're going to stop doing these things. I've forgiven your sins. Don't go out there and start sinning again. Okay, well, my camera I can see is blurring up. I still have a long way to go. We'll get it done. I may be just reading as fast as I can next time after I get this memory card downloaded. Oh, wait a second. I have a little more time. Hold on. David comes in the day of the Lord. A time to come announced in Jeremiah 31. And the Jewish people will never be uprooted and overthrown again. When the ruined cities are rebuilt and Jerusalem's rebuilt, and I've talked about that. The time when the angel of the new covenant comes and God returns to his temple, he promises to place among them forever in the covenant of friendship. The day of the Lord is to complete and fulfill the remaining prophecies of the Hebrew Bible. 4 righteous servants have not come. It's an unfulfilled prophecy. Prophet like Moses, Elijah, Moshe, and of course the man described in 53. So, 4 righteous servants to come and 2 specific covenants to be delivered. Covenant of sin forgiveness from Jeremiah, and the covenant of friendship we were just talking about in Ezekiel that God announces that he will grant basically when Moshiach's here. They're together. And of course Moshiach's righteous servant. They're together. And that's his prophet like Moses. The man of Isaiah 11 became a man in divine beings when the Spirit that lit upon him entered him. That's how Ezekiel tells it. And he could hear God speak. God was already talking to him. He couldn't hear his words.